wow, wow, look what I got from Jesse James Beads. This is their cherry collection. And so I have some little crystal teardrops in that beautiful cherry red. This is the red Designed by Me bead mix, and it is just full of several different shaped crystals, this beautiful pearlescent bead, some cage beads, some adorable little suede-like tassels. There's some crystal rondelle spacers in here and some little round cherry colored beads. And also there were bicones and cubes in this little mix. And I've kind of pulled them all out because I have designed 3 bracelets, and these are going to be the kind of the connectors on one of my bracelets. And then look at these gorgeous gold plated pave cherry drops. Aren't they wonderful? So you could so easily make earrings with these, but I'm going to make 3 bracelets. 2 of them are going to be connected in a fun way, and that's going to be the dangle for one. And I'm going to use the other one for my extender chain on my other bracelet. And I just can't wait. I'm a little bit breathless. I'm so excited to get started. And then look at this gorgeous chain. Oh my goodness. I just love it. It is so pretty. There's little cherry red crystals inside a heart frame for each link, and then a little tiny link in between those. And I've worked on this in to kind of show you this bracelet design just to get it started, and then I'll show you exactly how I did this. But I have made a little connector. It might be easier if I lay it flat on my mat. So I have made a little connector out of the crystals from the bead mix and put it through the chain. This chain is absolutely so gorgeous and dainty, just like that, but it's also a little bit bold, and I thought, let's make it more bold by doubling it. So that's the plan here, and I'm going to use some jump rings. I'll show you what I'm bringing in from my stash. I have some round and some oval jump rings. I have a lobster claw clasp. I have an oversized jump ring here, and then I have 9 little ball head pins. You could actually create this with all oval jump rings or all round, but I had both in my stash, so I decided to mix the two to kind of start off my extender chain. And I'll show you exactly how I plan to make the closure on this, but I'm going to alternate a cube bead, a bicone bead, a cube bead, a bicone bead, and get my bracelet length on that one. And then look at this cherry collection bead strand duo. They are amazing. And I have to tell you, like, this is just absolutely gorgeous. It's a little bit short of a bracelet length for stretch bracelets, which is what I want to do. But I am not going to reinvent the wheel. The designers at Jesse James Beads have already done all the work for me, and I'm just going to pop in some gold seed beads from my stash. I have some 6/0s and some 8/0s in my little pot here, because for the beads on this strand, I'm going to do the 8/0 seed beads, and this one is a little bit larger scale, so I'm going to use the 6/0 seed beads and just get my length, get my length right by spacing out my stringing with these seed beads. And then I will be able to wear all 3 of these bracelets together or separate them. I am just beyond excited about these projects. So the first thing that I'm going to do is cut open these bead strands, but I am going to maintain the design here. So I'm going to snip this one first, and I'm going to come in with a little piece of stretch cord that is a bracelet length and pre-stretch that, and I am going to put a clamp on one end and really just get this strung on here, adding in some of those seed beads. But I'm also going to do a little tiny modification on this strand here. There are 2 of these crystal balls, one on each end, and I'm going to take one off of here, and it's going to go right in the middle of this bracelet. And I'm going to, when I string this end, I'm going to take this one and put it in the middle here in between these 2 red crystals. This is just so beautiful. Like I said, the work is already done for me. I just have to string. So I'm going to snip this one as well, but again, I'm maintaining the pattern here because I want to use it. The designers at Jesse James Beads do such a good job. Sometimes when I get their strands, I think they're so beautiful. It's actually hard to cut them open. So I'm just going to have one of these ready for the stringing on there. And I am clamped off on my stretch cord, and I am just going to start stringing. And so when I do a stretch bracelet, I will try to finish my stringing when I come back around on a bead that has a large enough hole for me to pull my knot inside. So if it's possible, that's what I do. So I am just going to, I won't make you watch me string all of these because I am going to have to go one by one on my stretch cord. The beads on this strand are so gorgeous. So I am just popping in some of those seed beads just to get a little extra length. So in between these red enamel honeycomb beads, I did an 8/0 and then a 6/0 and then an 8/0, and I'm just popping an 8/0 seed bead in between these amazing little stop sign shaped crystals. I absolutely love them. And then look at this, you guys. Look at this bead. Isn't that the sweetest? Let me get it on my wire and I'll get my fingers out of the way. But this is the sweetest little twisted wire bead in red and gold. Isn't that beautiful? Like, it's such an interesting texture, shape, color, and I just love the gold and red. So I'm almost coming to the middle here of transferring the pattern from the shipping strand to my stretch cord. And when I get to the middle, I'm going to pop in that crystal pave little ball for a focal right in the middle, and that's also going to really tie my two bracelets together. Okay, I have extended the length of my bracelet to just right, and I'm going to take one of these little cherry round beads from the bead mix, and that's going to be the middle. So when let me zhuzh this down so you can see. So when I bring that around, I'm going to have one of those beads on this side of my bracelet, and I have my little bracelet pattern extended, and I can try to hold it like this, which is what I do, is hold it really tight and then slip it on. And one of my tricks for making my stretch bracelets last is to make them a little bit longer than I need, because then you don't have to stretch them so far every time you take them on and off. And also for this design, because I'm going to creatively connect my two stretch bracelets, that little extra length will also be helpful in taking it on and off. So I'm going to take my little clamp off, and I'm going to just do an overhand knot on this side. And since I am right hand dominant and I want to do right over left, left over right, I'm actually going to turn my bracelet and do the same thing on this side. And you can do this a few times if you want to. I just want to be able to pull this knot inside this gold bead after I have put some glue on it. So I'm going to stop there so that the knot doesn't get too big. And that is all that I do to knot my stretch bracelets. And then I just put a little bit of GS Hypo cement on the knot. I'm just going to separate my beads so that I can get the glue to the knot, and just put a little bit on there neatly. I don't want to get it all over the cord because the glue can actually weaken the cord. And then get the pin back in. And come in and trim, but just not too close. And my first little cherry delight bracelet is done. And now I'm going to do the same thing to my other strand here. Just string it the same way that it has been created by the team over at Jesse James Beads. and just extend my length with mostly these 6/0 gold seed beads. Stretch my cord and put a clamp on one end and string, string, string. Okay, I ended up taking out one of the beads from that strand, and I got my length extended just beautifully by popping in a couple of the cherry beads from the mix, and I just love it. So I've tied my one knot. I'm going to turn in this direction, bring in my GS Hypo Cement, and do the same thing and try to pull this knot inside this crystal. It has a pretty large hole. Okay, my 2 stretch bracelets are done. They look amazing together, but I'm not finished. I'm going to take my large jump ring, and you could actually make whatever size you want, but I happen to have this textured one in my stash, and I am going to open this jump ring and put it around both of my stretch bracelets. And while it's still open, let me find a little spot where I want to do that. I'm going to come right here on this one. They'll move around, so it's really not that crucial. And I'm going to come right here on this one. This is large enough that it will slide around. Put another one right beside it and close it really well. You could do this with a single jump ring. I started out with just one, but I really love the way they look with 2 together. And then I'm going to take a third one that's a little bit smaller and just open it and put it through both of my larger ones and attach my little cherry dangle to that, just like that, and close it really well. And so the extra length that I created in my stringing will make these really easy to take on and off, because I do have a little bit of extra space to pull them on and off, and my little cherry drop will go around and just be this beautiful little embellishment. It's just so pretty. It looks like anything but a stretch bracelet. It's so elegant. I just love it. Okay, to work on this one, I am going to have to create components out of every single one of these cube beads and bicone beads from the mix, and I did it really simply with some scraps of 20 gauge wire and my 1-step looper. It is just the easiest way when you have a beaded chain, which this is sort of a beaded chain. So I'm going to put the wire in past the back cutter since there are no beads on it. And I got my first loop in there. I pull the wire down, make sure it's straight, and my loop is now centered on that wire. For this, you really need to make sure that these loops are closed, so baby them a little bit, work harden them. No space there, and the reason is that my chain is really fine. The jump ring, or the oval jump ring, or the oval link that I'm going to be going through is really fine, and if there's any space in this loop, it is going to really, easily slip through there. So I'm gonna switch to my, I used the same 8/0 seed beads to create these components that I used in my bracelet, all the same elements, so I can wear all these together if I want to. So I'm going to put a seed bead on, and I'm alternating. So my first link was a bicone, so the one that I'm creating here will be a cube, and then another 8/0 seed bead, and then it has to go through the corresponding link. And so it might be best if I lay this flat on my mat. Let me make a little space here just to make sure, really important that it's not twisted. And on this end, I just did an oval jump ring on each of the heart links, and then corralled them with a round jump ring. And then I'm going to use jump rings to create an extender chain there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, so I'll show you what that is. But it's kind of helpful to go ahead and start at one end, since we will be connecting 2 lengths of this chain. Get this little seed bead back on, and let me zoom in a little bit. Let me get the seed bead on and I'll show you. So I'm just going to run my wire through the corresponding oval link on the other side, just like that. And it's just such a beautiful way to link this together. And then I'm going to make sure that my opening of my loop is in the same position, and I have everything pushed to that direction. And now I'm going to put my wire through the guide hole this time and push my entire situation up to the front jaw of my tool. I am gently closing here, and then it will make that cut for me, and it will make my loop for me. And when I get it, the loop fully closed, I'm going to pull the whole thing down so that this loop is centered on that loop. And you know, since you're managing a lot with this tool, they can become misaligned. But I just take my other pliers while the tool is still holding it and get everything lined up. And then before I put this down, I'm just going to double check that there's no space on that loop. It looks really good. Work harden it a little bit, and the second one is on. Just like that. It's so gorgeous. And then I'm going to do the same thing again, only this time I'm switching to a bicone. I just pulled all the cubes and bicones out of the mix. Okay, I'm going to repeat this until I have my bracelet length. Get my simple loop in my wire, smooth and straighten it. And I want to baby that loop because my oval links on the heart chain are very fine, and I want to make sure that this doesn't slip out. And so I'm just going to come to my next oval link, and I'm going to pick up an 8/0 seed bead. I'm on a bicone. I'm alternating bicone and cube again, and pick up an 8/0 seed bead and then go across, put my wire through that corresponding link. And then I'm going to pick it up and turn it so that my loop is here, push everything that way, and I'm going to bring my one-step looper back in and push it all the way up to my situation, gently close the tool here. And for those of you that are not familiar with the one-step looper, I love this tool. It makes things like this so easy, but it is a quirky little tool. Your bead shape, the gauge of your wire, I have a lot of stuff hanging off the tool for this. They can all affect how your loops are formed and how well they close. The other thing is, if you can keep the wire pretty close to this back plate, you get better simple loops than when it's out here. But because of the shape of things, that is not always possible. And also, like, because I have so much hanging here, it wants to flip out of the tool, but I'm not going to let it do that. I'm keeping it in there as I close. Then I'm going to pull my whole situation down. As I'm closing here, I'm not popping the tool closed. And then if I want to do any aligning while it's still in the tool, I can. This project is a little bit different because I have so much in the tool. But I'm just going to come in, get a hold of everything, and just really make sure that that loop is closed really well. As you can see how fine that oval link is, and it wants to like escape, and I don't want it to. So let me show you what we have so far. It's really been helpful to start off my chain by putting these 3 jump rings, the 2 oval and the round. And then that's what it is looking like. What a stunning bracelet. So I'm going to repeat. My next bead will be a cube until I have all of these connected on this bracelet. And then I'm going to do something else really cool to this design. So let me get this done and I will meet you back. Just be a second for you. Okay, my length is done. Oh my goodness, you guys. This is so gorgeous. And honestly, we could be done here. We really could. Look how bold and beautiful this is. And I love that the hearts are going in opposite directions, and I love just the different shapes of the bicone and the cube. It's just so gorgeous. But I'm not going to be done there. I did want to show you what I did on this end. So I want to end with these two hearts the same way that I did on this side. So on this end, I am going to snip those little oval links that I have been so carefully attaching those crossbars to. And I have all of this chain left over. I just totally love this, and I think this chain would make absolutely gorgeous earrings. Beautiful chain earring with a bauble at the end, and I think I might do that because I'm dying over these beads, and I think that is going to be a quick pair of earrings with my leftover chain. So I'll set that aside and I'll show you quickly how I'm going to do that. But I have taken 9 of those teardrop crystals from this beautiful cherry collection and a little ball head pin, and by hand this time I have made some little drops. So this is another really easy way to get simple loops in there. I just took a ball head pin and popped it in the teardrop, the cherry teardrop, and then I'm going to use my round nose pliers and just put a little bend and then put my plier in there, wrap that wire over the pliers, rotate it, bring this wire around, center that loop, get it centered on there, and when I take the plier away, I will come right here inside with my flush side of my flush cutters and snip right where the two wires meet, and that gives me this absolutely perfect little simple loop. So I'm going to do all 9 of them just like that. And I am ready to kind of create my extender chain. So I'm going to dump out all my jump rings, and I'm going to add a jump ring, an oval jump ring. And like I said, you could do the whole thing with ovals. I just had ovals and rounds, and I love the different shapes since I've put so many shaped beads in this chain bracelet. So I'm just going to open the oval jump ring and attach it to one of my hearts, and then I'm going to take a round jump ring and pop that on there. And again, the secret to creating this kind of hand linked chain is just babying the loops and making sure they're all closed really well. So I'm going to double check my round jump ring that I just popped on here. Another oval jump ring. And that's going to go through my other heart and through the round jump ring. Just get that on there. Okay, so to my round jump ring, I'm going to add another oval jump ring and then pop my lobster claw clasp on this end. And from here, I can check my length and create my extender chain to what I need. So my bracelet is looking gorgeous. So you could either measure or it's pretty good. I don't need much of an extender chain, but I am just going to use the oval jump rings to create an extender chain by linking them together. So if you don't have pretty chain, or if you don't have scraps of chain, don't forget that a jump ring chain, especially with the ovals, it really is a pretty chain. It looks really nice. So I'm going to attach maybe 5. I like the odd number. And to my 5th one, I am going to add my cherries to my bottom one. You can leave your final link on your extender chain plain if you want to. It's not wrong. You see plenty of jewelry made that way, but for me, the bottom link on an extender chain is prime real estate, and I have this gorgeous little bauble, so it is going on. So I have 3, do 2 more, and to that last one I'm going to add my cherries, and on this one I'm going to remove the bail from the cherries. Okay, this is my last link in my extender chain. So I'm going to open it, put it right there, and then put my cherries directly onto my last link, and it's so beautiful in the winter time when you're wearing long sleeve sweaters, fine gauge sweaters, t-shirts. It's so beautiful to see your extender chain kind of peeking beneath your sweater. Like, I love that. I always put something really sweet on the end of my extender chains. Look at this bracelet, you guys. It is so pretty, but it is not done. So I'm going to take 9 of my little cherry teardrops, and I've done a few of them with the simple loops. I'm going to open the loop and give myself a little space, and I'm going to alternate sides and attach a little drop, a little cherry teardrop alternating. So that one is going on that side. Then I'm going to take another one and skip this one on this side. It will go right to this simple loop, and you could fill every one of the loops on every one of the components, but I had enough of these teardrops to alternate, and I think it's going to be a little less busy alternating like that. But you could, even I toyed with the idea of putting a different dangle from the mix on every loop, so you could really make this design your own. But I'm just going to go side to side, doing every other loop with a cherry drop. Just like that. And so it is so dangly and so gorgeous. Okay, I have 4 more to make, so I'm going to do those quickly by hand. Just put my ball head pin on, bend the wire, bend it back over the top, rotate my plier, bring it around, center it, and snip right where the 2 wires meet. And I can attach them as I make them or sit and do like a production line, but I'm going to skip one, add one, skip one, add one down the entire length of my bracelet until I have all 9 of them on. And then I am going to jump to making a fast pair of earrings because I can't resist. This collection is beyond beautiful. Look how pretty that is. It's got all the little baubles, and the cherry collection is just wonderful, but this makes it even a little bit more bold. Oh my goodness, I just love it. I love my little cherry extender chain. It's just gorgeous. So I want to make a pair of earrings really quickly because I just can't resist. Let me lay this out on the mat so you can see it. And I'm going to clean away some of my leftovers, and I've already have the things out here for my earrings, and so I'll show you quickly how I'm going to do them. I have 3 links of heart for each, 3 links of the hearts for each earring, and I'm going to do a little stack with one of those beautiful pearlescent beads, a crystal rondelle spacer, and then a faceted crystal on top. I'm going to do it with a ball head pin so that it coordinates with my bracelet. Look at this, you guys. It's so pretty. I want to sit and play with it. I'm just going to lay the little baubles out here so you can see the pattern that I connected them in. But again, you can adjust this and do more or less, but look at that. It's so pretty. It's just so pretty. Okay, let me grab 2 ball head pins. An 8/0 seed bead is what is going to stop this bead. Has a pretty large hole, and look how pretty that is. And then a crystal rondelle spacer, and then a crystal. So that's my little, basically my little earring. And then I'm going to put a bend, come in with my round nose pliers the same way that I did all my baubles. Bring that around, center that loop, and with the flush side of my cutters, snip where the 2 wires meet. It's so simple. And then I'm going to open it and add it to the bottom of my heart link. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other one, super quick. Same thing, same beads. Okay, and you can pop any ear wire that you want on here, but I've decided to take scraps of my 20 gauge wire that I've used in my bracelets to make my own ear wires. So I'm going to come in again with my one-step looper, put a simple loop in the wire on each side for each ear, 2 simple loops. And then I'm going to bring my 6-step bail making plier in, and I'm going to put this in so that the opening of my simple loop is facing the inside of the earring. Put this in here so that that loop is right up against, in between the largest bail and the next to the largest. Just make sure it's centered, and I'm wrapping the wire around the largest bail, and then I'm going to take my cutters and line them up right to the end of that loop, and that's where I will snip. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on this one. Fast, fun, simple, inexpensive ear wires. I'm going to put my wire in lined up with the width of a flat nose plier and kick that out just a little bit, and I'll do the same thing on this one. And then I always use my battery operated bead reamer to smooth off the ends where I've cut the wire, but you could also use a metal nail file or a buffing block. But I have the wire rounder attachment on here. It's like a little cup, and I'm just going to place my ear wire that I made, the end where I've cut, in there, and press the button and just go around for a few seconds, and it is unbelievably smooth and such a nice professional finish. Perfect. Now I'm just going to reach inside and open that loop, and there's no front or back to this design. It's very easy. Just slip my heart right onto that loop and close it. Make sure it's closed really well. Look at that. I love making my own ear wires this way. They're just seamless. You don't see the opening of the loop because I designed it to be on the inside. It's not wrong. In the marketplace, you see the opening of the loops on the side and on the front, but I just think this is so beautiful, and it gives the earring a polished, professional look. Work hard in that loop a little bit, and look at this amazing, fast, fabulous, fun pair of earrings. Oh my goodness. You could wear those with a white t-shirt and be done. And I am totally crazy about my stretch bracelet. This is like the most elegant little set of stretch bracelets. And isn't this kind of a chain cuff, because it's so wide and so dangly, but in a chain form, and just, oh, it bobbles so beautifully. Fun and festive and elegant at the same time. You just can't go wrong with Jesse James beads. You just can't. When the beads are this beautiful and the supplies are this gorgeous, the chain is this gorgeous, how can you not make something stunning? I thank you so much for watching. I will have a link in the description box for you for Jesse James beads. And when you go on the website, this is the Cherry collection, but don't forget to check out their Fab Finds section of the website. There are some really amazing findings and beads there, and they are having a big sale all month long right now, so check that out. And they always have specials, but they're having a really great sale right now, and I'm so thrilled I got to get in on it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all safe and well and warm as we go into these winter months, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, friends.